All right, we're here. Welcome to another episode of Versus Mike History. I'm your host, Michael History. As always, we got some good people in the building. We got Jamar on the boards, and we have two guests in the building today. How about you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi.
Hey, I'm
so
Jordan.
weird.
I know this is weird,
This
but
is so weird.
we're super glad to be on. I'm
Honestly.
Jordan.
I'm Shaniece, and we're from Goddess Culture Podcast, wellness, organization, everything.
Yep.
Honestly.
Okay. Thank you for coming on the show. You guys are my first guest of the year, so I appreciate
Starting the
Oh,
note,
yeah.
the year on a good note.
Yes.
We like that.
Very positive vibes. I'll just get into it then. What purpose does Goddess Culture serve?
Purpose.
I guess that starts with how we got started.
Yeah.
So just a brief synopsis. So Shaniece and I met in college, and we were both like super active, involved in everything. And then we graduated and had nothing to do, and we both don't know how to sit still. I love to talk, and Shaniece loves service and taking care of women. So basically, we put together a podcast that talks about the things that like Black women don't like to talk about in regards to self-care, relationships, finances, all this type of stuff. And I think it just like grew from there. It grew from our want to like take away the scariness about talking about things that we shy away from. And then it transformed into a wellness organization where we hold programs, we host wellness retreats, and that's slowly becoming like the biggest part of Goddess Culture is our wellness retreats and like taking what we talk about on the show and like bringing it to life.
Right. So just moving backwards a little bit, I kind of want to hear the story about how you guys met specifically.
We didn't like each other.
We didn't. We were beefing. We actually didn't speak to each other. We would be in the same room and act like we weren't even.
Well, let's first start by saying, so like I said, we met in college, and it's not like something happened that made us not like each other, but our personalities were so different.
Yeah.
And we were both like young, immature young women, like coming into our own, thinking like what I say goes.
Yeah.
And we learned quickly that like what you say go don't matter really.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to learn to coexist.
Yeah.
And then Shaniece sat me down one day like, why don't you like me? Because everybody likes me.
That's what I'm very likable.
Those are her words. And I'm like, oh, see, this is the shit I be talking. Can we curse on here?
Yeah.
Okay, this the shit I be talking about. Like, what? But then, honestly, what it came down to is, like, I was sensitive and she was the opposite of sensitive. So that's why we, like, didn't vibe.
And then also, like, we were both raised kind of differently. Like, my household is a little rough. So, like, I kind of go into things a little rough with people. So
Rough
then,
how?
like, aggressive. Like, my parents are Caribbean, so they don't beat around the bush. Like,
Right.
it is what it is. And whatever they say is what they say. And then I had to learn, like, that's not how you act, like, in
With
life.
everybody
Like,
else
that you
does.
can't treat everyone like that. And with Jordan being sensitive, it was, like, good for me because I was like, all right, I'm being able to interact with someone who responds to things differently than I do.
Right.
So with that, we became friends, and now we're like inseparable.
Exactly.
Are you not obsessed with me?
Honestly, let me just tell y'all, like, I'm actually surprised she hasn't held my hand. Like, that's how obsessed with me Shaniece is, since she's trying to put it all on me.
Bye.
But yeah.
So when Goddess Culture first started, was the first idea for it to be a podcast, or was it just like, did it start off as a brand where you were figuring out like what you're going to do with it?
It was a podcast.
It was a podcast for sure.
And I didn't even know what a podcast was. Jordan was like, let's start a podcast. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, let's start a podcast. What's that?
Yeah, I literally called Shaniece. I strictly remember, like, I was coming home from work in the parking garage, leaving the parking garage, like, I need to do something. And I was like, cool, a podcast, because that's, like, all I was listening to. I was obsessed with them at the time. And I'm like, yeah, nobody's going to listen to me talk. Nobody, like, not by myself. Like, that's not going to make any sense.
Word.
So I called the person who's, like, the complete opposite of me, but I know we have, like, good chemistry. And Shaniece was my first call, like, my first thought. So I was like, I literally called Shaniece, let's start a podcast. And she was like, sure. There was there was literally no conversation. She was like, yeah, of course. What is it? Like, and then after that,
Yeah. It's
that was how she was
crazy.
born.
It's crazy because our 3 years was January 1st. So we've been on air for 3 years, and we have
awesome.
like 60 episodes, 58. So it's like crazy to look back at where we were at that time. Like, if someone could have told me like all the things
traveling
that
the
come,
world, like all that,
like
just from a podcast,
like so many doors have opened for us from this, and it has not been easy. like starting a business has not been easy, but it's so rewarding. Like it's so rewarding.
So at what point when you guys were podcasting, did you decide, all right, I'm just going to do some more shit? Like, because like most people who podcast, or I won't speak for most people because I'm just speak for myself. I mean, like when I first got into podcasting, I was just thinking, all right, I'm going to do podding, and then eventually I move on to live shows, and then like maybe like I get hired somewhere, and then I get a job, and
Yeah.
but you guys do the trips, and you guys have events also, right?
Yeah, Summer Fridays.
Right. So, what made you guys want to move outside of podcasting and into events where you're like actually connecting with your audience, even outside of spaces where it's not specifically like recording or like a live event?
I think that goal setting is important. Something that Jordan and I do, like we have meetings weekly, bi-weekly team meetings. So each time we're setting goals and setting new challenges for ourselves. And it seemed like every time we accomplish something, we're like, all right, what's next? Like, what could we do next? What could we do to make it even better? And like, we've had so many great people around us and so many people who spoke such positive energy into us. It just made us believe like, oh, we could really do it.
We
Like
could do something else.
we could do something else. Like, let's just try it.
Yeah,
and
I
we
think
failed. A bunch of shit.
And we failed.
But we figured some
But
good
we
stuff
figured
out.
some stuff out.
I think the first event that we ever did was kind of rooted in, our
What was
core
it?
team. We were trying to have an event that failed.
Oh, in my backyard?
No.
Because that one failed too.
This is the one we were trying to co-host the event, and then it fell through.
yeah.
Okay, so we were trying to
That
host
one
an
failed.
event because the point was get our names to people outside of our circle.
Right.
At this point, we have people like 100 people listening in an episode, and I know it's like 25 of my friends, 25 Shaniece friends,
Right.
maybe like a couple of people who picked us up on Instagram, but otherwise it's not like unique listeners, and it's a very small knit like circle. So we're like, how do we get more people listening? Let's throw an event.
Right.
We invite the people we know, they invite someone else, and Goddess Culture will like get a name. We'll start to get some buzz around us. And we were planning for this event, and the event never came to fruition. So Shaniece and I were like, fuck it, let's travel.
On this point, not to throw that person under the bus, but you know, sometimes when you plan an event with someone and you're banking on them, because we were kind of hoping they would bring in the most people because we just started, and you know, and that person kind of pushed us away. Not he was busy.
They were just busy. That was it.
And you know, kind of like let the event like dwindle, and we were just like, we're not going down like this.
Yeah. So now we have to top what that event would have been.
Yeah.
And then we traveled to Santa Barbara for the first time. So
Yeah. And that was a learning lesson in itself, but it was our
great.
first time.
Santa Barbara. Yeah. So beautiful there.
Word. So I first went to you guys the first Summer Friday I went to you guys was like not last summer but the summer before when that spot by Prudential was open.
Oh yeah.
And
R.I.P. Taste Lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the best spot.
It's like
It was black.
it's like a venue. It's like an open venue now.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty dope. But
It was beautiful.
whatever. That was the first event I went to you guys, and it was like really good vibes. And then last summer we collabed for Summer Fridays again,
Which made it like twice as good.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if you remember, but the difference between the year before last and like this past summer was like crazy. It was like night and day.
It was a big difference, and you guys had a lot of people who also do podcasting come out, and I just wanted to speak on that because I met somebody there who hosts a whole like meetup for podcasters in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I just thought that event was really dope, and I just want you guys to speak on it really quickly, like how, because you said that you wanted to connect with your listeners more, but I feel like more people who were like more so in your lane started coming out just to try to see like, oh, like what are these guys doing?
Yeah.
Because that's how it felt like when we had ours. I was like, oh well, like I'm having an event with a bunch of people who do the same thing that I do, and I kind of like learned a lot from those people.
Well, originally Summer Fridays started off as like a networking
Happy hour
situation, and it wasn't until this year where we decided to kind of have people co-host with us, and I think that kind of changed the dynamic of the attendees because we had podcasts and organizations in Jersey City and Newark, and everyone was able to come together, and it kind of created like a dope environment to like not only network but also like get help or like ask people questions like what's going on with your podcast and what are you doing with this. So I agree. I think from where we started with it, as it's grown and as it continues to grow, like we hope that it becomes that, like a place where podcasters come, people who are creative come out to, people who do anything just come out and feel like a dope little creative vibe at a networking happy hour thing.
Yeah. Hosted by women. I think that's a huge part of it too.
Absolutely.
Black women.
Yeah.
Specific from the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hosted by women, it's a pretty good draw. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you.
So as trip host though, speak on the success and the struggles that you've experienced up to this point.
We'll start with the struggles since that started the whole trip.
Wait, but first, how many trips have you guys hosted so far?
How many? Santa Barbara, Puerto Rico, Spain. So we've completed 3, but we have a 4th we have 5 that are coming up. So 1 next month and then 1 in May.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
and then 1 more at the end of the year.
Yeah, that'll be released soon.
Okay.
But so some of the struggles, I would start by saying you don't know what you're getting yourself into until you do it. And Shaniece loves to travel, and I love to travel too, but I never really had an opportunity to do it much. So we kind of used this opportunity to like continue Shaniece's travels and like break me into it a little more than I, have been exposed to in the past. We assumed that was going to be like, we're going to bring all these women together. We're going to have a great time. We're going to vacation ourselves. And what we didn't bank on was the fact that we'd be working. Right. So we both don't cook, and we were like making stuff.
Cooking.
Learned that we need a chef. So, that was something that we learned early on. So now every trip has a chef. We learned that we don't, like if it's an area we don't know and we don't know how to get around, we need to either have a tour guide or we need to have someone like on the team who knows where they're going. Because for our first trip to Santa Barbara, we borrowed our travel agent. Shout out to Alicia Inch, because she happened to be like in Santa Barbara at the time. She lives there. So she could like navigate, but we learned that we need someone who is a little bit more knowledgeable about the area to like help get us around.
Yeah, Google ain't always your best friend.
Not when you're girl. Not when you're trying to work everything. Not when you're trying to entertain guests. You're trying to make sure you stay on schedule.
Customer service.
Yeah, customer service. You have people
customer relations.
You have people who don't know each other. So there are some folks who are like solo traveling in a sense, like they're traveling by themselves with a group that they don't know. People with different personalities, like how to maintain and manage those. So like that was a learning curve, our first trip.
Yeah.
But then Puerto Rico came and it was a huge success.
Yeah. And to Jordan's point, Santa Barbara was kind of like our test run. We had 11 people come, but it was like, we were surprised we even got 11. Like we were just like, wow, we made it. And then like she said, we were cooking, we were cleaning, we were doing all these things that we on paper looked like it was going to be so easy to do. And then once we started to do it, like at the end of the night, we would share a room and we wouldn't even speak to each other.
No, we would go in the room and like
go in the room and just
face the opposite way.
Yeah.
Like,
and
go to sleep. Like
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
like we were exhausted.
So is this like a real world type situation where you guys just like get a house and then
well, luckily like the vibe was always like good for the most part. Like luckily people were coming there for a wellness experience.
Right.
So it wasn't like, a whole bunch of people got there and it was catty or anything like that. It was just like, and from the outside, it was perfect. Like our guests had a good time.
Yeah. They would never know.
Yeah. It was just like, imagine a duck, like, above water, like it looks all calm and then underneath the legs are moving and moving like that. That was Shaniece and I. Like we kept it good for the guests, but it was work. It was work they couldn't see going on in the background.
So the trips don't feel like a vacation for you guys?
We work a vacation in now.
Yeah. And that's another thing we learned. We're on trip number 4. We're on 4.
Yeah, we're on 4.
So from the first one, we realized we were traveling with the group, and then we realized that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
It's like we need to go at least 2 or 3 days before the group to kind of like relax and get our mind right and
get
everything.
used to the area.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we also learned like things happen, like spur of the moment. On our last trip to Spain, like the airline canceled the flight. And like 5 people.
And that was like a fourth of our trip, like was stuck in New Jersey and New York. And we had, and we literally, so the funny that you say that. So we got there a day early so that we could
relax,
get to know the area. As soon as we get to the hotel, we get a text from somebody at like 6 o'clock New Jersey time.
6 a.m.
6 a.m. New Jersey time. Like, so my plane is canceled.
And we're just like, we just put on our robes.
Honestly, we were just on Instagram, like, we got here, it's paradise, like, it's beautiful. Right. And then we get this text, and then we realize that that's the same plane that 4 people are on.
Wow.
And they weren't up yet. So my cousin was actually one of those people. I'm calling her 100 times. Shaniece is calling the other guests, texting the other guests. And we're actually on the phone for 6 hours with our travel agent and airlines.
Insane.
I still don't know what my phone bill looks like. I think my mom just covered it, but I had to turn my phone service on and wait. We were on hold for like 45 minutes with the airline trying to figure out what we could do. They couldn't get them there till like the Friday, and at that point it was like 3 days into the trip, so we had to get them to another airport, a new airline.
Yeah, book whole new flights. They had to like. And that's the thing with traveling. Like, you never know. Yeah. Like, you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
Luckily, they were able to all get there, and they were in good spirits. Like, they had to fly to Madrid.
And then drive
4 hours to Barcelona.
Crazy.
And then they were supposed to leave at 11 p.m.
And rent a car.
They were supposed to leave from the East Coast at 11 p.m. The flight was moved up to, like, 6 o'clock or 2 o'clock or something like that.
From JFK.
So someone had to, like, call out of work, drive all the way up from Trenton. Like, we meet people they didn't know. Yeah. They like, oh my gosh, we were so freaked out. But I can't say it showed Shaniece and I like what we're capable of.
Yeah, when we're pushed to that point. Jesus.
At first, I'm like, I don't want to freak out because that's gonna freak Shaniece out. But I don't know what the fuck we about to do. Like, that's what I felt like. But we fixed it. Yeah.
So most of that stuff is like, you guys handle it basically like in house or like behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But has there ever been an experience where like you just had somebody who just was not satisfied at all with the trip? Like,
not to date.
Yeah.
We do send out reviews afterwards, and we do take like reviews and recommendations very seriously. So like anytime someone gives us like a new idea or like a new thing, we bring it to the team and we kind of just try to see how we can implement it because we are so small and we're just like starting. Customer service is like number one for us.
Right.
So like any instance or anything that goes wrong, we handle it in that moment. Yeah. We kind of don't let it linger. So I feel like that's kind of how we've been able to like put out little fires because there have been fires.
I can say the first trip, we wanted to make sure people felt that they were getting their money's worth. So we packed a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. And though no one said it out loud, like the feedback that we got in the survey was basically like, I was so exhausted. Like I had fun. It was great, but I was so exhausted. Yeah. And I think that's like probably the biggest thing I think to date, like if we're going to talk about people being dissatisfied about something, and that's a huge thing because if they're going for like a wellness
tour, right?
Yeah. Like if they're going on a wellness experience, we don't want them to be tired when they leave. Right, so that felt like it felt bad to me. Yeah. Because I'm like, damn, that's the opposite of what we wanted them to get out of it. So, we just readjusted how we schedule the trips moving forward.
Yeah. When you want like someone to feel like they get their money's worth, I feel like we just overpacked it. Yeah. We just put in everything. We're like, all right, we'll do this
3 major things a day.
Like yoga, and we'll get a yoga instructor, and we'll drive here, and we'll go to a wine tour, and we'll get on a boat. Like, we do the most. Yeah. So
it's great stuff. It could be a lot.
Yeah. We don't account for the fact that you have to get up and get ready and put on clothes and
pack a bag.
Exactly.
Carry it.
So I think that made all the difference between trip 1 and trip 2. Like trip 2 was like the perfect experience. Yeah. Sorry. No, it's fine. Oh, that wasn't to me. I'm in somebody else's business.
Right.
Okay.
What would you guys say separates your brand of wellness from like other people's?
We're transparent as fuck.
Okay.
We're honest as fuck. Like there isn't any lies or any frills when it comes to Goddess culture. What you hear on the podcast is what you see in person.
Right.
Like when people meet us, they're like, "You're exactly like how I thought you'd be."
Yeah. What I can say to Shanice's point is like, first of all, we live in a world where like Instagram glorifies everything
people
good.
Be capping,
right? So you get on Instagram, you post these beautiful quotes. You know, you post these beautiful pictures, and then you get off of Instagram, and people don't show up that same way in the world.
No, at all.
And I get that we all have our off days. I get that we all, there's some times where you're really not feeling it. But when you say this is who I am, you have to show up that way authentically. Otherwise, your words don't mean anything. So Shaniece and I really make a point to show up, whether it's in a goddess culture setting or otherwise, as we say we are. We meet new people who come to our events. We don't not talk to them because we don't know who they are. Like, it's our job to get to know them or to make them feel comfortable in our space. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, we are who we say we are, as good as we say we are, as bad as we say we are, and we're unapologetic about it.
And we're flawed. Like, we have so many flaws, and on our podcast you'll hear like us talk about all the things that we deal with and the things that we face, and we used to sugarcoat it. Yeah. Like, we used to be like, we used to pause the podcast like should we talk about this? Like, are you sure? Like, yeah. But now it's just like, fuck it. Like, this is what's going on in my life. This is what I'm dealing with. This is how I'm going to deal with it. Like, does anyone have any tips for me? Like, how can I get through this? And I think that has been the reason why our views have increased and why our name has gotten out there and why people feel so comfortable with us. Like, we're not perfect. We don't pretend to be perfect. We're not on Instagram living these fairy tale lives. Like, people know. Like, you see the truth, you know the truth, and I feel like you connect more with honesty. And when it comes to wellness, like, if you know, like, me and Jordan, we're different, like, you know, so her version of wellness is different than my version of wellness. Right. And that's what it's like with the world, being a Black girl. Like, so many girls think that wellness can only be boxed into like one certain thing. Yeah. But what we show is that we show each other's sides of wellness, and we also show like what we enjoy to do, how we do it, and give people the option, or give people like, they get to see it. Like, they get to actually see like a tangible version of a Black girl living her best life, or
working through when it's not good.
Right. Yeah. And how she does it, like our steps, like a guideline kind of.
Yeah, one of the things that I admire about you guys' brand is that, like, okay, so you guys have the podcast where people can just tune in and listen to you guys talk about whatever you feel as though is important to get off your chest that week. And then you guys have the Summer Fridays, so people locally can come hang out with you guys. And then you have the trip. So it's kind of like it's like layered. Yeah, it's very layered. It's a very layered brand, and I think that format and that formula really helps you guys achieve reaching out to the audience that you guys want to that you guys seek to reach out to, because, you know, like, a lot of people, like, wellness is in. Like, it's
a trigger right now. Yeah, it's a buzzword.
It's what's in. Like, my last guest was also did well. Is also into wellness. So, you know, it's like, and people want to know what makes them feel good, and people want to try new things. I feel like, especially like going into this new decade, and, you know, people want a clean slate, and, you know, they just want to feel good. And you guys are doing a really good job, so I really
thank you.
Admire you guys' work a lot.
We appreciate it.
I think I'm good. You know, I think I'm pretty much done here. You guys want to add anything in at the end? Any 2020 goals you guys got in mind? Any big projects coming up you want to speak about? Anything I'm privy to know?
We're definitely continuing the wellness retreats. That's not stopping. If anything, it'll be ramping up after the end of this year. We're in a space where we're doing 3 trips a year. So although, actually, when does this come out? Tomorrow? Great. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and shout out our New York sleepover. Unfortunately, this one's women only, so, you know, y'all can't come. But we have...
Y'all as men.
Yeah, sorry. We have a long weekend retreat in New York City that will be a beautiful experience. It's a different format than what we've done in the past, so think about it as like the ultimate girls sleepover. Nice. We have 2 guests coming night 1. It opens with like a big pizza party. We have a wine sponsor, so you'll be eating and drinking upon arrival.
It's in Harlem.
So we're staying in Harlem, but we're doing things around the city. We'll be going ice skating at Woolman Rink and
Air Spa.
What's that big old park called?
Central Park.
Oh my
God. Wow. Not that big old park.
The Ohio jumped out.
I know, the Ohio definitely jumps out. We're going to Ade Spa, which we've been to. This will be our 3rd time going to this spa. It's so beautiful. Basically, it's like these big ancient thermal baths, like different temperatures and different stuff in the water. But you walk out feeling like visited heaven.
basically.
We're doing candlelit yoga. We have a life coach coming. So we're doing DIY body care stuff.
Yeah, we're doing a lot.
Custom robes for the attendees.
This is one night?
This is 3 nights.
Okay, cool,
yeah,
cool.
February
Yeah.
27th.
You thought they was doing the most, right?
I
I was thinking that too. Like, damn, we got a lot packed in this
you
weekend.
get to the end of the night, you be like, I'm wellness out.
Well, this out. I'm
Like, I'm
done.
good.
Yeah, but we still have a couple of spots, and because our 3rd anniversary just passed, we have a nice little discount.
Yes.
So if you go on our Instagram page, you'll see it.
And it's Goddess X Culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys can go ahead and plug in your socials now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Goddess X Culture on Instagram and Twitter. Goddess Culture on Facebook. My personal Instagram is JLasoul, so JAY_LASOUL.
And our website is www.goddessxculture.com. So you could get our podcast on there. We stream on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes,
yeah,
everywhere. And you could get the link directly from our website. My personal Instagram is SV Culture.
Thank you guys for coming out.
Thank you for having us.
Jinx.
I know.
You guys can follow Versus Mike History on Instagram at Versus Mike History. You can follow me on Instagram at Last Name History. You can follow me on Twitter at Mike History. And Versus Mike History has a Twitter account now, so you can follow the podcast on Twitter at Versus MH. And I think we're good.
That's a wrap.